want to just share a little bit about Malka, and she can definitely fill in the blanks. But Malka and her husband moved to Phoenix. She is originally from Toronto, so a Canadian. She is not a snowbird. She lives here. They have a beautiful family here in Phoenix. And one of her passions that she, I guess, created into a business, I think is the right way to put that, was organizing. And her business is called the Organized Fairy. So today, what we're going to learn about is a little bit about the organizing, but as well where the organizing plays into something I think that's more relevant to all of us, and that is today's title, which is the legacy box. And it's actually, when I was looking at it, it's really something that we talked about here a lot, but maybe in a bigger role. And that is about making sure you have a box that has all of those materials and things that you'd like to share with your loved ones and family in perpetuity. So I'm going to spotlight Malka, and thank you again, Malka, for doing this presentation for us. And we're looking forward to learning about this.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be here with all of you. So my name is Malka, and I'm the Organized Fairy. I actually, I live here in Phoenix with my husband and 4 children. We moved out here about 7 years ago, and we absolutely love it here, especially this time of year, right? What's not to love? So I became a professional organizer more than 10 years ago when it was not as popular as it is now. So it's really amazing to see how this industry has grown and how people are really getting the help that they need within their homes. I love what I do. It's like Levi said, it's my passion. I love helping people create calm in their home when they're feeling so overwhelmed by their home and their life. And, you know, I get to come in and just create this calmness. Before I continue, I want to give a little shout out to my grandmother that actually joined. If you see her on here, she's Ruth Goldberg. So I'm so excited that she was able to make it on here. If you're not familiar with what an organizer does, in short, people hire me to come into their home and organize it. And that can mean a variety of things, like clearing out clutter, setting up different systems in the home for different kinds of things. You know, when things aren't working in a person's home and they're just so stuck, that's when we know that we need to implement some systems. So we do a lot of that. We pack up for a move, we do home setup, and we even assist in downsizing. And the end result that we're looking for is always the same, which is a beautiful, functional space that will work for my client's lifestyle, because we know that everyone has a different lifestyle and different things will work for different people. So let me give you a couple of examples. A few years ago, I had a client who's a mom of a bunch of children, and she spends a lot of time in her kitchen. But her kitchen just wasn't working for her. She wasn't happy in it, and it just seemed to get messy quickly, and it was too hard to clean up and stay on top of it. So what we did was we went through all her drawers and cabinets. We pulled everything out, and we made sure to put things back that were only the things that she loves and needs and uses. And something else that we did was we set up zones in her kitchen. We made sure that there was a place for her baking. She loved to bake a lot and bake with her children. So we wanted to set up a space that would really, really work for her. We also set up a coffee station. So that would include anything from like a coffee machine and mugs to coffee and sugar and anything that you would find or need when you're making coffee. And when we were finished and she used it for, you know, she was using her kitchen for a couple of weeks, she got back to me and said how much she enjoyed being in her kitchen. And she didn't mind her kids being around. They were able to find what they needed. She was able to find what she needed, and things were just functioning so much better. Another example of a client I had was I had a client who was downsizing from a very large home to a smaller home, but pretty big as well. So let's say, 7,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet. Still, pretty big. But whenever you're downsizing, all the things that fit in the large home are just not going to fit in the smaller home. It's just math. So the best way to do it would be to do the work before you're moving. So you're not actually paying movers to bring things with you that you're ultimately going to get rid of. She didn't do it that way, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens for a variety of reasons. But we went through everything, and as we were setting up the home and unpacking, we went through the whole process of decluttering and getting rid of things. Sorry. How do Lady, you want to help me a sec? How do I do that?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you could see everyone. So on the top right of your screen, there should be a little view, like if you move the mouse, and you can change it to gallery.
Okay, great. Yeah, I like this. Now I can see everyone. Okay, so we went through everything and we set up her home and we donated a lot. We threw out a lot. And obviously it was only those things that she knew she didn't really need and she didn't really use anymore. And she was so thrilled with the results. And that's really what my goal is as an organizer. There are people that think that organizers are going to make them throw their things away. Raise your hand if you think that. I'm glad to see no one thinks that because, oh, I think someone did raise their hand. If you do think that, that's okay. I'm here to, clarify that. Maybe there are some organizers that do that, but that's not my approach that I like to bring to organizing. I like to tell my clients that they should keep the things that they love. And when going through things in your home, you're going to find things that you actually realize that you don't need anymore and you don't use, and maybe you used in the past, but it's just not necessary anymore. So there's a couple of things that I like to ask my clients when we're going through things in their home to kind of weed through their items and help them declutter. So one of the questions I like to ask is, when was the last time you used this? Because when we kind of tap into that and we see, okay, I think I use this often, but in reality, I don't. So maybe I could give this up. Maybe it's not something I need. Another question I like to ask them is to actually hold the item in your hand. When we touch something, we have a connection with it. And that's every item in your home. And right away, you're either going to have a really positive, good, happy, joyful feeling, or maybe you're not. Maybe it's just going to be nothing. So I like to ask them, does this item bring you joy? And if this item brings you joy, then that might be an item that you're going to keep. And if it doesn't bring you joy, okay, let's give that one away. Let's donate it. Or maybe we'll find a family member that might enjoy that. The last question I like to ask, and I think this is one of the most important, is if I were shopping right now, would I buy this again? And the reason why I think this is so important is because it's something that's really present, right? If we're not actually going out to buy this item, that means we don't really need it right now. So it really puts things in perspective and helps you realize, like, oh, maybe this is something I need, maybe it's not. Is it possible that maybe, sometimes we have the old toaster oven or the old coffee pot that's been sitting around for a while and you're waiting for it to get fixed? Oh, it's great. It just needs a little, it needs to get fixed. One day I'll get to it. When we come across things like that and we realize that it just hasn't happened in a while, then maybe that's an item that you can donate and someone else might, put in the work to fix it because they actually need that item. Another thing that kind of gets in the way with decluttering is gifts. When a person receives a gift, the gift belongs to the receiver now. So you have the authority to do with it as you wish. And we know that when someone gives a gift, many times they put a lot of thought and effort into it. And that's beautiful. They thought about you, right? That's really the most important thing. But if it's something that's just collecting dust, and really that's getting in the way of your beautiful home or the potential of your home, then that's also something that you can think, okay, I got this as a gift. Maybe I can regift it. Maybe I can just donate it because I just want to get the clutter out of my house. So when I'm working with clients, I like to put things in 3 different categories: keep, toss, and donate. The keep category is anything that we are going to keep in our home that we're going to try to organize and find a great space for. The toss category is anything that you don't use. It won't be sold or donated. You just want to get rid of it. It's going in the garbage. Things like that might be, you might find that you have a collection of bags or newspapers that you find you may have needed, but really you realize you haven't. So those are things that we can just throw out. And the donate category is things that can be sold or donated or passed on to a friend, a family member, or someone else you think might get good use of it. And when we place things in these 3 categories, it just keeps us moving through the organizing process, because it's very easy for the process to become overwhelming very quickly. So let's just, move through it, keep those 3 categories, and keep going through our home. When you go through boxes, maybe old memories of things, you can give yourself to discard some items. You could go through the cards, go through the pictures. Maybe there are some pictures you want to keep, and maybe some pictures you just don't want to keep anymore. And it is okay to throw out pictures. I give you permission. And finding things, you may find things that you want to pass on to someone else. I'm actually working with a client now who found her father-in-law's high school diploma. Okay, so this is from mid 1900s. It's pretty old. It's a pretty cool document, actually. It's not the way they come now. And her husband, unfortunately, isn't alive anymore. And so she felt, instead of holding it on for herself, that she would pass it on to someone in her husband's family that maybe they would enjoy having this as a memory. This client, she actually also, she's actually downsizing to move into a retirement community. And so we're going through her home. She's living in a condo now. And she's definitely gone through this process before, but of course, when you're, like I said before, when you're downsizing, you need to make sure that things will fit in your new space. And so we came across a really impressive stamp collection. These were stamps that she has collected over years and years, and she knows it's just not practical to keep anymore and to hold on to. So what she is planning on doing is she's going to contact her grandson, who she feels would enjoy something like that. And if he wants it, she's going to pass it on to him. And if not, we'll take care of it from there. But it's just about finding, if it's something that you enjoyed at one point in your life and you don't enjoy it now, that's okay. It served its purpose in the past, and now we're looking forward to the future. My grandmother, who's actually on this call, she downsized from a condo as well, and she moved into an apartment off of my aunt's house. And she had a collection of pictures that us as children and grandchildren had given her over the years. So you can imagine this impressive collection that she had. And she just couldn't move with it all. So what she did was she actually returned the pictures back to us. So we had these pictures. And now what she has instead is a digital frame that's connected to an app. So we take pictures on our phone all the time. That's pretty much the camera we use. So it's super easy. We just send pictures to her frame and she has it playing, and she gets to see, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, and see what's going on in our lives. So that's just another example of a way to save space and just make space for for the things that you truly enjoy. And there's ways of doing it. It's just all about getting creative and all of that. Now, I want to ask you something. If you would ask a loved one to tell you about your life, about what's important to you, and about your childhood, what do you think they would say? Let me tell you about Bertha. Bertha was ready to move from her 3-story home to a 2-bedroom apartment. As we started working through the downsizing process, we came across boxes of birthday cards, of pictures, of yearbooks, and lots of precious memorabilia. And Bertha wanted to keep everything. It was all really important to her, but she knew it just wouldn't fit in her new apartment. So what I did was I suggested to Bertha to start sorting her items into different categories that corresponded to different stages in her life. So, for example, before marriage, travel, children, after marriage, and career. We labeled these containers, and I guided Bertha to put things in these bins that only things that will fit in it, right? So at the end of the day, we don't have 2 boxes of one category because we are trying to minimize that. So we made our way through the piles, and Bertha went through everything. She read each card, she looked at the pictures, and as she read the cards, it gave her the satisfaction that, okay, I see this, I acknowledge this, and I'm ready to throw it out. And she did that with a lot of her stuff. And in the boxes, she only kept the items that represented her most meaningful memories. And these are the items that she took with her to her apartment. Months later, Bertha's granddaughter, Rose, helped her make scrapbooks of each of these categories. And she was able to go through these memories and share them with her granddaughter. Let me tell you about the legacy box. The legacy box is the best way to preserve your past. In it, you can put things that are the most meaningful to you. Let the legacy box tell the story of your life. The things that one could find in a legacy box are things that you wouldn't find being sold at a garage sale. These are things that are so memorable to you. I love the idea of making categories like I did with Bertha, because it really helps tell the story, right? There's different stages in our lives, and this way it could tell the story. But of course, there's no one way. If you wanted to make, an assortment of, let's say, 2 or 3 boxes of all your memories, that's okay too. You have to do what feels right for you. And it's also really important when making these boxes to only keep what fits in the box. So things you could do is, put things in the boxes that you think you'd like to keep. And if you find it's getting too full, you can always weed through it again and see, maybe there was something that I don't need to hold on to. Because we want to be able to tell our story to our loved ones. We want to be able to pass this on to them. It's something else that's a really nice thing that you can do is even to write little notes in your boxes for your family members. Maybe your dreams and aspirations for them. Maybe about how proud you are of them and the life that they're building. But I think the most important thing with these legacy boxes is to also take the time once these are created and share them with your family so they know how important this is, because then your memories become their memories and it becomes a part of them too. So I want to show you a couple of samples of ideas so you can get an idea of what it looks like. And this is one box, This is really nice. It's a fabric box and it's beautiful. It's such a nice thing to be able to put your things in something like this. This is purchased from the Container Store. You could find them in a variety of sizes and colors and materials, and you can do, you know, what feels right for you. I love when we label things. It just gives it a nice final touch. And obviously things could be labeled whatever you would like. And this, it's so beautiful. What do you guys think? Isn't this a beautiful box? I think so. So that's one example of a box. And another example is this. I'm just gonna lift this up. This I just made as a sample, right? This is not actually someone's, but this is a container, okay? And what's cool about this container, I'm just gonna bring my camera forward so you can see, is that it has the ability to put files inside like this. I actually use this for my children's school memories. So this way, when they're done their educating years, they're going to have a box, and in it there's different files with each grade. And I put the things inside that I think they would appreciate. So it's very minimal, but it's the things that I think, you know, when they're 20 or 30 and they're moving on, they, you know, this might be something that I want to, you know, give them. But what I love about this is you can have different categories. Just like I spoke about, you know, having different boxes, maybe the other box is a little small, so it's easier to have different categories. But when you have a larger box, you can just put files in it and kind of divide it like that. So again, these are just suggestions. There's no one way. And you know, you got to do what feels right for you. Now, I'm going to have Rabbi Levi play a song in a couple of minutes. This is a really beautiful song with a very important message. And I think all of us here will be able to relate to it. This song is about a young man who goes to see a sage. And he walks into his house and he sees that this sage is living in a bare home. He doesn't have couches, he doesn't have furniture, he doesn't have chandeliers, he doesn't have fancy clothing. And so the man asks the sage, "Where's all your stuff? How come you don't have anything with you? How come you have nothing in your home?" And so the young man responds, the sage responds, "Where's all of your stuff? I see you only have a suitcase with you." So the young man says, "Well, I only have a suitcase because I'm just passing through this town. So I'm just bringing what I need with me." And so the sage replies, "I'm also just passing through. We live in a temporary world and we collect all sorts of things. Couches, furniture, kitchenware, nice clothing. I also collect stuff, but not those kind of stuff. I collect treasures of another kind. And what are these treasures? These are the good deeds that we do. These are the good deeds that we do that make an imprint on the world. But I also like to think that these are the memories that we make and that have shaped us to who we are. And that these are the memories that are treasured and we can pass them on to our loved ones." So Rabbi Levi, whenever you're ready, you can play the song, please.
All right, one sec.
TorahCafe.com.
I traveled halfway across the world to see a sage. He lived like such a poor man in this day and age. I said, where's your leather couches? Where's your golden chandelier? Where's your walk-in closets for all the stuff you could wear? Well, all you got's that suitcase, my friend, ain't that true? I said, yeah, but you know that I'm just passing through. And that's when he said, I'm just like you. I'm just passing through, just like you. My heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me. Although we've been forever living in this town, people say he never really settled down. They say, where's your leather couches? Where's your golden chandelier? Where's your walk-in closet for all the stuff you could wear? The neighbors talk, but they don't understand. The things he's collecting you can't hold in your hand. Like he said, I'm just like you. I'm just passing through, just like you. My heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me. For you and me. Just like you, I'm just passing through, just like you. My heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me. My heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me. A palace for you and me. So, just like you, it's a very powerful story that we're telling.
Is that where you want me to stop it?
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so I love that song. It tells a really powerful message. And I just want to end off by saying that don't wait for someone else to tell your story. You tell your story and tell it the way you want it to be heard. Thank you all so much for joining.
All right. If anyone had, first of all, Malka, thank you so much. And I'm a very big fan of that song. For those of you who have never heard of Eighth Day, they're very meaningful and Jewish meaningful lyrics of all of their songs. I'm going to post the lyrics in the chat afterwards so you can just read it. But before that, and independent of that, if you do have a question, Malka is here and can answer any of your questions if it's about the legacy box specifically or in general about organizing.
Absolutely.
Please feel free to either use the chat or unmute your mic. And the time is yours. So please, here we go, Mrs. Cates.
Well, I'll start by saying I'm in the process of downsizing, moving into a retirement center. And I've got boxes all over my office labeled with each grandchild, with each child. And I'm in the process of doing that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny that this turned out today. I have about 6 or 7 weeks before we put our house up for sale.
Wow.
And I've got to do all this right away.
So these boxes you're going to give to your grandchildren.
Yes, I've already done about 30 albums,
Wow.
all my pictures that aren't on the computer. And I have, with the first grandchild, there's 5 albums, and each grandchild, it goes down, down, down. Since you know the first one gets all the pictures.
Right. That's just how it works. That's amazing. Good for you.
And maybe I'm gonna call you, and if it weren't for COVID, I'd have you in the house right away.
Yeah, it all depends on your comfort level.
I know.
You'll have to do Zoom organizing.
Oh, didn't think about that.
Yeah, you can show pictures, FaceTime.
Yeah,
There's a will, there's a way.
that's right.
Clothes are easy. It's before COVID and after COVID.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
So we got 2 different piles.
right, exactly.
Janet, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, so I am not in the process of moving or don't plan to, but every time I say I'm gonna clean out and, you know, particularly stuff, houseware things, you say, well, this is really a pretty platter. I have not used it in a long time, but you know what? I think that maybe I will be in the future. So how do you know, and it's so good and it's, you know, fine quality, and how do you part with things like that? You know, you said things that bring you joy, that you use, and so, you know, how do you handle those?
So something like that, I would kind of like maybe even have a moment with your pretty platter and say, thank you so much for serving me in the past. And I'm going to pass it on to someone else. Maybe it doesn't have to be someone you know, but you know, someone else will get joy out of it and will use it. I'm sure it's so beautiful that you really want it to get used, right?
Right.
So you can give yourself permission to let go of it if you know that it's really not something that you're using.
And I like when you said, I'm giving you permission to throw away pictures. Oh,
I know.
yeah.
Yep.
Yes, my mother has done that. She's able to let go. Still 96, she's still, you know, for years we've been cleaning out her stuff, and oh yeah, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. I have a different
Listen, everyone has different personalities.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
yeah, sure.
I
Thank
have one painless solution to getting rid of pictures. Digitize them. They don't take up any space on your computer.
And Steve, are you offering your digitizing services?
I didn't go that far. Just a suggestion.
Absolutely.
But on a serious note, there are definitely some good businesses that do that well. You just have to shop around for good pricing. Jennifer, I saw that you wanted to ask for a comment.
I was going to suggest that if you have something you love so much, then you know you should get rid of it, or you don't love it so much. But in that category that Janet was saying, if you take a picture of it and you keep it in your memory box, then you've got that as a memory.
That's a beautiful, that's a great suggestion. I love that. I actually just heard a story kind of on that note of a couple that was downsizing and moving out of their lifelong home. They raised their family there, and they had put by the entrance of some door, they had etched in the wall the height of their daughters as they grew up at different stages of their life. And as they were leaving the house for the last time, they broke down. They were so like, it was sad, you know, sometimes it happens, we have to move on, and it is a transition. But this organizer that worked with them did something so brilliant. She took a picture of it and framed it, and they put it at the entrance of their new space that they were going to live in. And it was just such a beautiful way to treasure that memory. And, you know, it doesn't mean that we're leaving things behind. Going through this process there are ways of really treasuring what is important to us.
Yeah, that's nice. Morty, did you want to add something, or are you plugging Wednesday?
Yes, I do. No, not at all. I was going to say, Malka, it's a pleasure seeing you again. I really enjoyed this,
Thank
and
you.
my very best to Laser. I want to tell you something. When I moved from my apartment, there was a 2-bedroom apartment. I moved into a 1-bedroom. My daughter got me an organizer. She sat me on a chair. She came out with things. When did you use this last? I said, I don't know, about 15 years ago. Boom, into a garbage can or a box. It was a pleasure. I got rid of so much stuff. I don't miss it anymore. So anyways, once again, it's a pleasure seeing you. My
Thank you
best to
so
your
much for coming.
Bubby.
I will.
Thank
For,
you.
for, for those of you who don't know, Morty is actually going to be sharing his presentation on Wednesday
What?
about his story, and he wanted me to correct the fact that I said he's a movie extra, and he wanted everyone to know he is not a movie extra. He's actually an actor now. He was upgraded. He got a promotion. So I'm just putting that out there. We'll correct it in our email on Wednesday.
Thank you
But
very much.
yes, but we're looking forward. Any other questions or comments for Malka? I want to share something that I shared on Friday that, you know, I didn't use Malka as an organizer for us, but she posts pictures if you follow her on Instagram or on Facebook. And one of the things that she had posted was a picture of how she organized her suitcase for her children for traveling. And it's something that Connie and I do now. I mentioned this on Friday. Instead of piles of clothing where you can't see what's under the first shirt, it's just organized now sideways. So you see everything lined up. It's just small little tips and tricks. And you can follow her on Facebook and Instagram. For those of you who are a little bit active like that, you get little lessons and ideas as well. So just putting a plug for her social media side of this. Any other questions for Malka or comments? There were some good little questions and tidbits there. Although I don't know how many people like hearing throw it out like Morty just did, but he was good with that.
I mean, that sounded a little bit extreme, you know. I usually like to be a little more gentle in the process, but
Or like you said, donate it. But yes, so if there are no other questions, I want to say thank you again. Malka, this is a informative and I think also thought-provoking. We've had a couple people that have come on in different presentations and talk about legacy and talking about how you keep your memories and your stories and you're teaching your story and what your values to your family. And this is just, I think they all work together. They're not exclusive. So this was really something to add to that. I like that a lot. Now, where would you say to store this box? I guess that's an important question.
You can store it in your closet. You know, it all depends on your home and where you have space, but I put memory boxes or things like that in a closet because they're personal things. It could be in a hallway closet. It doesn't have to be in any specific place. Just not like out. It should have a place.
And then part of this, I guess, would be suggesting to this individual to let their family know about the box. So would you tell them to put that in their will? Would it be, meaning that conversation is important too. You can have it and someone doesn't know to look for it. We had for those of you who remember, we had the Palestine Post's author and his father never told him about the letters. So it was like a mistake that he found them.
Oh, wow.
So,
I mean, I would definitely say, like, I think I mentioned this before, but spending the time with your family and your loved ones and share with them how much this means to you. And it's not just going to be something that that your family will find, but it's just going to be things that they're going to know already, how important it is. And yeah.
all right, thank you. Thank you so much. And if anyone has a last minute question, you can definitely ask her now. I will share Malka's website so you can contact her if you have questions or you want to connect for any other reason. Again, it is the organizedferry.com, and I'll share that in the email on Wednesday, and I'll put it into the chat now. Whoever would like to stay on, feel free to stay on and chat and schmooze. I'll be on. And Malka, thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you. It was wonderful. So nice to meet all of you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.